I pledged Delta Sigma Theta, and since then, and while I was at Stillman, I majored in computer science. I am working in the only job I've had since I left college. That was many, many years ago, if you all do the math. So it's possible to find what you want to do or your purpose for doing what you're doing right out of college. You don't have to have all of these career changes. But, you know, for me, I was lucky to have just kind of fallen into the job. But hopefully today and throughout, you know, you participating in this program, you can be a lot more strategic than we were, because, you know, when we were coming up, we were probably first generation college students. So which means we're the first people in our family to go to college. And a lot of things we had to figure out along the way. I wish I was participating in the program as cool as this when I was in high school, because I probably would have been a lot more prepared had I was. So that's a little bit about me. I guess to kind of kick us off, how many we have on here? About 4. Could you all unmute and just tell me your name and what grade you're in? Maybe we can start with, I can't pronounce your name, so I'm gonna say Miss Jones. I don't want to mess it up. I want to hear how you pronounce it.
It's
Mr.
Janelle, it's fine. I'm 16, turning 17, and I'm in 11th grade.
Okay, and that's Janailan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's nice. I haven't heard that before. Thank you. And you said you're 16, going on 17. You're in the what grade again?
11th.
Okay, 11th. Okay, cool. Miss Cassandra?
Good morning. My name is Cassandra Verona, and I'm in the 12th grade.
Okay, okay. And then I think we have our other student on the line, Hanita. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly.
It's okay. Hi, I'm Hanya.
Hanya.
I turned 18 yesterday, and I'm in the 12th grade.
Oh, okay. Well, happy belated birthday. Definitely. Thank you for jumping on this morning. You probably had a late night last night. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, again, thank you all. Did I miss anyone? Is that everyone? That's all I can see in the chat.
I don't think there's anyone else on the call right now. Hopefully they'll come in though.
Okay, great. Well, I'll make sure you 3 may just get a prize pack just for being my first class and jumping up this morning. So I may have to work with Dr. Goodson to get your addresses so I can send you all a little Manners prize pack. Well, today, and Dr. Goodson, can you still see my screen?
I can.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna get started there. Well, today we're going to talk about careers for 2050 and beyond. And I'm not sure if you all have decided. So I guess that's also, so could you all kind of, again, unmute in whichever order you want to go in, kind of tell me what you're thinking about. You want to either a career that you are interested in and or what you want to major in if you plan to attend college. So either one of you can go first.
Yes, ma'am. I want to be a photographer after college.
Okay. Okay, that's awesome. Other 2 ladies?
I'd like to become an educator.
Okay. That's great.
I would like to be a paralegal.
Okay. So we have a paralegal, a photographer, and an educator on the line. So I noticed no one said anything about agriculture or science or any of those careers. Could you all tell me what do you think when you hear agriculture? Just give me one word. You don't have to give me a lot. Just tell me one word that you think of when you hear agriculture.
Food.
Nothing, huh?
Have y'all ever been somewhere where some grass at?
Food, I guess.
What you say? Pigs? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, pigs. Anybody else? Okay. So when you all think of agriculture, you don't think of an educator or a paralegal or a photographer, huh? What if I tell you you can have all of those careers in agriculture? Would you believe me?
No, ma'am.
You said no?
No, ma'am, I would not.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to make a believer out of you today. Um, that's what they say in famous lines of Kevin Hart. You go learn today. So, but yeah. So I would just say I was just like many of you. Being from Mississippi, which is the sister state of Alabama, we have a lot of agriculture all around us. And when they first approached me about maybe working and being in agriculture, I was like, no, thank you. I'm from the fields of Mississippi. I don't want to do outdoors and mosquitoes. But little did I know how little I knew about food, agriculture, and natural resources. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And so agriculture, just wanted to kind of throw out these three terms that we'll be talking through today. So agriculture being the cultivation and breeding of animals and plants to provide food, fiber, medicinal plants, and other products to sustain and enhance life. So what that just basically means that without agriculture, you couldn't be a photographer or educator or a paralegal. Do you all think that's true?
Yeah. I don't know.
You said what?
Yeah.
Did anybody eat breakfast this morning?
No. No, ma'am.
You didn't eat breakfast, but you do plan to probably eat lunch, right?
Depends.
How about a simple question? Is everybody wearing clothes?
True.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. What about, does everybody live in a house?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. What about when you turn your faucet on? Does water come out?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Yes.
Okay. What about when you crank your car up? Does it go?
It does.
Okay. What about the tires on the car? Do they work? Are they flat?
Yes, ma'am.
They were.
They work.
Okay. So all of these things are agriculture. So as you can see, you couldn't really move about through life if it wasn't for the people who were working in agriculture. If you were worried about where your food came from every day, and we all kind of went through this brief season during this coronavirus where food in the grocery stores were very, very limited. And I think at that very point, a lot of people started to realize how important your food supply is and where it comes from. And that's really what agriculture is about. Agriculture provides the things you need in life so you can think about all of the other things you want to do. If you were worried about how you were going to feed your family or where you were, if you had a secure shelter in place for the night, your mind couldn't even think about wanting to be paralegal or waking up this morning to do this type of to join this type of class, because you'll be busy trying to figure out how you're going to feed your family today. That's what agriculture does. Here in America, we don't really kind of get the same because we're a nation of what they call first world problems. A lot of developing country, agriculture is the center of their economy. And even here in America, it's the center, it's the centermost industry, a part of all of our economies, but it's just not talked about in that way. But if you look up any state, and I definitely will challenge you all to look it up while you're here online with me today, look up Alabama's top industries in the state, and then let me know when you come back with it. I'm pretty sure if you look up any state, agriculture is going to be somewhere in the top 3 or top 5 industries in the state. And that's before healthcare, before education, before sports, all of those things. And so as we talk more about moving forward, so just the career is, and you all have already, I think, have a good sense of what a career is, not a job, but a career. And so making sure that you all are setting yourselves up and exposed to all of the things you can do with what you're passionate about. And I want to make sure I highlight that because you all gave out some pretty cool careers that you may be interested in. And then the last thing you'll probably hear a lot of people beginning to talk about is sustainable agriculture. And that's, you know, meeting the economic, social, and environmental needs of the present without compromising the needs of the future. And that's just saying in the year 2050, they're projecting right now there's about 7 billion people on Earth. In the year 2050, they're projecting that it'll be roughly about 10 billion people. And the challenge is, how do you feed an extra 3 billion people without getting any new land? So we're not going to get any more land space to grow food on. You're not going to get any more water. And so you're going to have to be able to produce twice as much on the same amount of land as possible, and without, you know, maximizing all of the resources such as, you know, land and water, those things that you need to grow food on. And so that's what sustainable agriculture is about, is how can you improve on current practices so that you don't jeopardize those resources in the future, and that you're able to maximize them to grow what you need to fit the growing population.
Can I add to that?
Yes,
Can I add to that as well?
Field, please.
Because this is kind of going into my area. So I'm in environmental science. Sustainable agriculture is everything that you said. And when I think about it from a safety and public health standpoint. So have you guys ever heard of organic food?
Yes.
What do you think that means? What do you think when you're talking about organic vegetables? What do you think that means?
Does it mean that it's grown differently or treated differently?
It's treated definitely treated differently, right? So you're not using pesticides or anything that can get into the water and pollute the water. So when you're talking about sustainability, you're looking at, you know, how much land you have for these for produce and things like that, but you're also looking at how keeping things safe from environmental pollution. So I just wanted to kind of add that in there, Ebony, because, you know, that's kind of like my thing.
Good. And that's why you also see organic vegetables cost a lot more in the store, because it takes a lot longer to grow those vegetables, because they're not putting things on them to increase the rate in which they grow. So they're growing naturally the way that they would grow, you know, potentially in your backyard. There are a lot of companies who make things specifically for organic vegetables, but we won't get into all of those details. But I think these are just the key words that, you know, whether you're determined whether you want to work in agriculture or not, these 3 words are going to impact you the rest of your life. And so it will be advantageous for you to just understand their meaning, to just know about it, what's going on, because you're going to hear them a lot. Now that I've exposed or mentioned it to you, just think about, you know, kind of how when you get a new car, you start seeing everyone with that same car on the road. That's the way these words are going to be to you. So we're going to watch a quick video, because I think this is kind of help shape up some of what we're discussing today. So let me know. Can you see that, Kenya? I'm sorry.
I can, but, you know, I don't know if it's me, but I've always had audio issues with Google Meet. I don't know if it's something that I'm doing. You may be able to get sound, but I was having a hard time.
Okay, so I'm finna play it now. Let me know, 1, if you all see it, and 2, if you hear it. Do you see it or hear it?
Yes, ma'am.
I can't see it, but I can hear it.
Okay, let me see. Can I let me stop share real quick and just go and make sure I can share from that screen, because I really want you all to see that video. Okay, let's see. Stop presenting on that screen and present now. A window. Okay. Okay. share that in case you should be able to.
Okay.
Okay, so you see you all now. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna maximize it.
I can see it and hear it.
Perfect. Okay. So that was a quick little video. I think if you all saw a lot of the words that we talked about earlier. So did anything jump out at you all from that video?
Go ahead, Cassandra. Go ahead, Cassandra. Did anything jump out in the video?
The amount of people that, like, the amount of, like, how the numbers have changed, that was interesting, and how they will change in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
I think Hanya was going to say something.
Oh, sorry.
Right. I thought the part about sustainability was cool. How this also helps establish that.
Okay. Janilyn, you got anything?
I mean, the only thing that really stood out mostly to me was that it took so much preparation, like, because there are a lot of really hot days, there are plenty of cold days, and you have to plan in between those days to properly grow something.
That is so true. And that's the other kind of thing we won't really get into, but climate change and how that has impacted how we grow food and, you know, and what's being put, when it's put in the ground and what comes up. So a lot of areas, you know, are having droughts where they're not growing the same amount of food that they used to. In other areas, there's flooding. And so it's just a lot going on with climate change and how that's going to be impactful in terms of what's grown, how it's grown, and honestly, when it's grown. So we'll come back to this exercise if we have time. I want to make sure we get through some of the other components, and this may be just something if we don't have time to do it as a group, that you all may be able to do at home. And what this exercise was going to be about is, as you look at the items that you typically go to the grocery store and purchase, what jobs do you think are associated with that particular item on production and getting it to your grocery store? And so we're going to take one as an exercise with milk. And so just, really quickly, if each of you can throw out one job that you think is associated with producing milk.
This is good.
You got to bottle the milk.
Huh?
You got to put the milk in a container or a bottle or whatever.
Okay, so packaging. So yeah, that's a good one.
You have to raise the cows.
Yep, that's a good one.
What would you call that, Ebony? Raising the cows.
That's probably the dairy farmer.
Okay.
What about, how do you know which milk you want to drink? What about marketing? So that may be where you come in, Janilene, because as a photographer, a lot of images and things that we see, like this pretty picture in the background, somebody had to do that. And so definitely photography makes its way into the ag industry. And so as we look at how many jobs did it take to produce your food, milk and cheese kind of go hand in hand. Of course, if you all didn't know, you need milk to make cheese. Here are all of the jobs that came out of that. So we got bank officer loans, we have the dairy farmer, we have the teacher or professor for someone who, talked about being an educator. Let's see what else we have on here. Hydrologist, insurance provider, truck driver, plant geneticist. Does any of these jobs surprise you all that are associated with cheese, or if there's anyone that you have a question about, like how is that related?
What would the insurance provider do?
So the insurance provider is, so just like any investment, when you invest in a cow or an animal, that's a lot of money. So I can't tell you what an average cow costs, but the insurance provider, what if your cow gets sick and dies before you're able to, get the milk or use it for what you were going to use it for in terms of why you invested in it. So the insurance provider is just like when you get a car, if something doesn't go right, and they're there to kind of help you be able to sustain your operations in the case that you have a loss.
What about the mechanic?
The mechanic. So again, you think about from the dairy farmer, you have to get your milk from one location to the other. And so that's transportation. And also, there's just mechanics that have to happen on the farm. So typically, you have some, small farms that do things manually, but a lot of these kind of high production farms that are really businesses and corporations. So if you go in the store and if you buy Walmart's great value milk, depending on where they produce it from, that's probably a mega farm. And so a lot of things are automated on the farm. And so mechanics are very helpful. And that's kind of where your engineers come in too, is they're helpful in fixing those mechanical items that you use on the farm. Yep. So again, it's a lot. And as you can see, these jobs are soil scientists, plant geneticists, veterinarian. These aren't just necessarily low paying jobs either. Engineers, a lot of these jobs make, pretty good money in terms of career wise. And so there's a lot to go into, and this was just cheese. I'm sure we can probably do a breakdown similar to this for any item that you all may have within your household. And this is just saying that farmers and ranchers represent 2% of the population in North America, but I believe, and I don't think I have the slide, but I believe we produce 70-80% of the world's food. and or the country's food. And so, as you can see, a very small population of farmers do a whole lot in terms of making sure that we have enough food to eat. And that's why my job is to, recruit and expose as many minorities to these careers as possible, because we're going to need some people out there growing food. Everyone can't go to be a doctor and a paralegal and a photographer. Someone has to be a farmer. Someone has to be like, I want to help to make sure that we can sustain the next generation. And that's really what my job is to go out and just, make these career options available and expose them to students, because a lot of people probably would be interested if they just knew about the jobs. And as you can see here in America, 1 in 11 jobs are tied to agriculture. 1 in 11. Even Dr. Goodson on the phone, I guess she and I may be breaking barriers, because we are both have jobs that are tied related to agriculture. Her being in environmental science and me working for an organization that gets minorities to major in agriculture. And so here we just kind of like a wrap up. There are a lot of the, jobs in agriculture. A lot of them off the farm agriculture careers are important to sustainability. So improving efficiency of food production, discover and help implement new best management practices, educate and communicate to the public about, the source of our food. A lot of people don't know where their food comes from. And I, would challenge you all to think about that as you go in a grocery store. Think about where that food has traveled from or come from. I know we go in and unconsciously just pick it off the shelf and put it in the buggy, but let's start to think about how was that food produced, all of the effort that it took to produce that food. And then you'll begin to see how intricately and important the agriculture industry is. And then one of the other things is just helping to minimize food waste and hunger. So I talked a little bit about me already, but just to kind of give you all a little information about our organization, and I definitely want to stop and be able to, allow you to ask any questions. So our Junior Manners program was a program that was started in 1991 with middle school students. And it was started really for the sake and the purpose of support and mentorship for underrepresented students. Underrepresented are those that are, come from backgrounds that are not prevalent in the industry. So of course, in the agriculture industry, is not a lot of African American or Hispanic, Latinx students, indigenous people. And so it's not a field a lot of minorities tend to go into. We have a very shaky history with agriculture, and not a lot of, people understand what are the benefits and the job opportunities that exist in the industry. And that's why our Junior Manners chapter program was started, so that we can begin to just educate students a lot earlier. So middle school, high school, before you think that you want to be a paralegal and an educator, I want to be able to get in front of you and talk about agriculture. So maybe that's a field that you maybe want to go and work in policy, and you can still be a paralegal working for a lawyer that works in agriculture on land loss and helping people secure land and keep their land. So there's just a lot of ways that you all can still have these very meaningful careers. A little bit about some of the objectives of our program. So our program is national. We do have programs in Alabama with Alabama A&M, Tuskegee, and Auburn. We are trying to get a program started with Stillman, and these may be some, again, opportunities that you all are able to participate in the future. And as part of the objectives that you can kind of see, I won't read all of them here, but one is increasing high school graduation rates, dispelling agriculture myths. So just telling people what agriculture is and what it's not. Making sure we expose students to, soft skills. So as you're a part of our program, you'll learn other things outside of just career interests, how to shake hands, which now we may not be shaking hands for a long time, but how to look people in the eye when you're speaking with them, how to speak up with confidence, how to, you know, work as a team. Those are all soft skills that no matter what field or where you go in to study, you're going to need those skills to be successful. So if you're playing any sports or a part of any clubs, all of those are just good personal and character building opportunities, so that, you know, when you get to work, your colleagues and your peers will be able to work along and get along with you. What are some of the activities our students do? And so we have national competitions that you can win award money for. We have state leadership institutes, again, that you all could participate in. This past January, we hosted a weekend event at Auburn. I think this upcoming spring is going to be at Alabama A&M. It's probably going to be virtual, so I may can work with Dr. Goodson to see if we can get some of you all access to attend if you're interested. We typically have a national conference every year that rotates cities. If I get a chance at the end, I kind of show a brief clip of that video. Usually about 1,000 people from across the country come together for this weekend event. And there is nothing more inspiring than seeing people that look like you, that are successful, and that are supportive in helping you get to your next level. And that is just amazing. And then the last thing we have is our Ag Discovery program, which are summer programs at a lot of different colleges across the country, that you're able to go and live on campus for a couple of weeks, just learning about agriculture and careers in ag business, ag science, veterinary and medicine, so forth and so on. What are some of those benefits? So I talked a little bit about leadership and career development, sustainable career and academia networks. All that means is just you're going to be meeting a lot of people at a lot of different schools. And so as you begin to meet, that, you know, it's always the catchphrase of, it's not what you know, but who you know. The second part of that is who knows you. Because if you know me and I don't know you, that's not very helpful to you. And so building a network is just a matter of, you know, building up those individuals who can vouch for you, who can recommend you for opportunities, who can, you know, help you get to the next level of your, the next stage of your career as you begin to move forward. Engaging again with life science students and professionals, you have access to scholarships and internships, and then you just get improved culture and career awareness just from being around different people and hearing things that we are not exposed to in our day-to-day lives. As an organization, this slide actually needs to be updated. We have about 2,050 active members in the organization. Out of that, about 4,500 are high school students. We now have an active database of about 11,000, so I definitely need to update this slide. And we have 65 chapters. Those are at colleges and universities across the country. So we're located in 38 states and Puerto Rico. So as you think about what colleges you may want to attend, you know, what are you interested in? That's where that kind of network comes into play. And then this is what a journey looks like if you were a part of our organization. So as you can see in high school, we focus on, you know, pre-college assistance, you know, whether that's ACT prep, financial aid, filling out, you know, applications, career awareness and readiness. So sort of like what we did today, but, you know, of course, we go into much more detail about each of these different careers. I kind of just shouted out today. You have mentorship with local universities. So again, if you all were part of the program, you'll be connected with, you know, professors at Auburn and Alabama A&M and Tuskegee, and hopefully in the near future at Stillman. And then just community impact. So they go out and do a lot of things in the community that really helps them. And I won't read the rest of them, but as you can see, each area of our organization has different benefits as you know, continue on through that journey until you kind of land your ultimate job as a professional. Let's see. So that's it about manners. Now I want to make sure I open it up to see if you all had any questions for me.
No questions? Comments? What did you think about the presentation?
I kind of feel like I never really understood agriculture until like today. Well, I don't necessarily understand it completely, but I'm starting to get a hold of it.
Did you realize how it impacts you on a personal level? Because I think that's important to know initially, right? You know,
Right.
how you
Like,
eat, as Ebony mentioned earlier, you know, what you wear, the gas that you use for your cars, you know, all of those things. And then, you know, with climate change, we talked about that. I mean, that impacts the prices of food. So you're talking about paying more money. So I mean, all of this is so important, and it's good to, you know, have this exposure today. And I want to challenge you guys. I know that you know, you may kind of have an idea of what you want to do, but always take advantage of every opportunity that comes before you.
Yes.
You never know where it will take you, where it will lead, or if you will have any other opportunities that are given to you. So I just wanted to put that out there.
That is so true. As I mentioned before, I'm a computer science major with a master's in business administration. You didn't hear agriculture anywhere in my title, but it fits so nicely, just the skills, because I think it's more so looking at the skills you develop in each of these jobs that you're passionate about, and how you can apply those skills to forever, you know, to whatever career. So Janai, you talked about being a photographer. You can photograph anything, you know, so it doesn't have to be weddings or events. You can go work for an ad company and going out into their field, photographing their crops and stuff for different brochures and images, because all of these companies are still businesses. They still have to market their products. They still have to have a nice website with images and pictures. And so definitely just as Dr. Goodson mentioned, just keep your options open and don't lose sight of what you're passionate about. Definitely let that guide you, but be open to trying new things that you may not even be interested in. Because here I am again working in the only job I ever had out of college, and I really just took it out of necessity, but I fell in love with what I was doing. Cassandra or Kenya, any questions or comments from you all? Hanya, I get it right.
So what can you do with an agriculture major?
What was that again?
What can you do with an agriculture major if it applies to if agriculture applies to so many other jobs? Like, what do you do with an agriculture major?
I will almost say what you can't do with an agriculture major. There are so many companies. Let me see if I can. I wasn't prepared to show this slide, but let me see if I can show one really quickly before you all go. Let me see, where is it? Okay, here it is. Let's see. Okay, let me share my screen really quickly with you all. I'm gonna minimize that one, pull that one up. I'm getting to learn how to use Google. I use Zoom so much that I don't really
It's different.
Yeah. Okay, so can you all see that? See my screen?
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Y'all see all of those companies? Does any of those companies, do you recognize any of those logos on the screen?
Tractor Supply Co.
Yes.
You recognize Tractor Supply Company? What about, do you all recognize Bayer? Like the people that make the medicine?
No.
You don't know, like the people who make Claritin or Advil? That's the same Bayer. That's the same Bayer that makes our medicines, over-the-counter medicines. What about in Farm Credit? You all probably should see this in your account. It's not called Farm Credit. Maybe it's called First South or Ag South or Ag Credit. Do you all see that little logo in places around your towns or counties? What about John Deere?
Oh, right.
Yes, sir.
What about that USDA symbol? Do you see that on the meat when you go into the stores?
Yes.
So what did I just showed to? These are all companies that partner with our organization. and they have internships and different types of jobs. But I just wanted to show you all that, to just say, with an agriculture degree, you can really do a lot. You can be an educator with an agriculture degree. You can be a paralegal with an agriculture degree, working on the Senate committee, working for the, on the Hill, working with people who are passing policies about agriculture. So there are tons, when I say thousands and thousands of jobs you can have within agriculture. And honestly, you can have all the jobs that you all said that you were already interested in. So if you want to be an educator, you can be an ag educator. If you want to be a paralegal, you can go and work on issues related to food, natural resources, and agriculture. If you want to be a photographer, you can go and photograph any of those things I just named. So just try to, I guess, use this opportunity as a springboard to just continue to learn and figure out ways that you may be able to, have some synergies in this space.
And those soft skills are very important. I'm glad you mentioned those. So if for nothing else, if you guys took this opportunity, it's for the soft skills, because a lot of employers are really looking for that. In addition to you having your background, they want you to be able to have the soft skills, be able to talk to people, be able to interact with their clients. So definitely be thinking about that. So with that being said, looks like we kind of ran out of time. Sorry for the issues earlier with the link. I'll make sure that you get the right links, Ebony,
okay,
for the next time. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Do you have any other questions for Ms. Webber before we adjourn?
No.
Okay. Well, did y'all enjoy yourselves? It was a little different than me talking, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right then. Well, I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you all. Best of luck. You all are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hang around, Ebony.
Okay.
All right. See if I can. All right, let me make sure I give you these right links, girl. That was such a great presentation, girl. You need to be saying this everywhere. That was such a good. You started off with what it is, so they got an idea of what it is and how it applies to them, and then you went into the girl. That thing was the bomb.
Oh, well, good. Well, that's the same format we finna use for the next two. So if I need to change it up a little bit, let me know.
Oh no, you good. I'm gonna stop recording.